Hey Camille, Jason Smith here. Just want to go through the quiz that you sent me, and I understand that you guys are working on factoring, and looks like also the opposite of factoring, which is multiplying binomials and trinomials and things like that. So, number one, if you look at number one, this is a case where you have 3x looks like plus 6, and you have that multiplied times 2x. I think that's a minus 3. Okay? And so it looks like you knew what you were doing on there. I'm not sure if you did or not because I see the work there, but some of the things you said you used Mathaway or mathway.com or something. So I'm just going to go through it. So when you're multiplying two terms or two binomials, let me quickly interject here what a binomial is. Bi meaning two, nomial alludes to a name or a term. Okay? Term. So it's like having a term is like one monomial, like 2x. That's like a term because these two things, the 2 and the x, are joined together by multiplication. A number by itself can also be a term, whatever. But whenever you combine two terms or two names, hence the name binomial, with a operation like a plus or a minus, and you group them, you can group them in parentheses, or it doesn't necessarily have to have parentheses if it's standing alone, but it is considered a binomial. Okay? So just one of the terms by itself, like the 2x, that's a monomial. Or just the 18 by itself, that's a monomial also. When you connect them with an operation plus or minus, and they're grouped together either with parentheses or not, they don't, if they're just by themselves, then it doesn't have to have parentheses. But when they're grouped together like that, they're binomials. So at the top, we have two binomials. I just wanted to add that in there. We use the FOIL method, which I see here. FOIL. And so, yeah, the FOIL just means multiply the first terms in each. So I'm just going to pick a color. This will be the first term in this group of parentheses. Then this will be the first term in the second group of parentheses. So you would simply multiply the 3x times the 2x first. That's your F. Okay? So obviously 3 times 2, when you're just multiplying the numbers, is 6. Then x times x is where you get the x to the second power. All right, so the F is done. And then you do the outside terms. So outside would mean the farthest outside here, which would be 3x again. And you would multiply that times the outside over here, which is the negative 3. Okay? So you have your outside terms is 3 times negative 3, that's negative 9. And you have your x times, really, as an invisible 1 next to the 3, so you just leave it as x, 9x. All right? And then your inside terms, okay, which would be inside the ones that are right next to each other here, in here, 6 times 2x. So 6 times 2x is going to give you 12x. I should have put that 9x down here. I'll just put it down here. Negative 9x. All right. And then you have your L, which is for the last. And so I'm sorry, let me go back and multiply 6 times the 2x. And then I multiply the 6 also times the negative 3. Yay! So 6 times negative 3 is just negative 18. You line all those up next to each other. You have your answer. What you got? 6x squared plus 3x, because when you combine like terms here, you really have 12 minus 9, which is 3, and you have your x denomination there, or your x category. And then you just have your minus 18 out. And that's it. That's how you do number 1. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to end by saying that the FOIL method doesn't work when you start getting into trinomials or anything other than binomials. It only works when you're multiplying two binomials times each other. So it may be best to think about it as distribution twice. And this is what I mean. You're taking the first term in the first binomial and you're multiplying that term times both of the terms in the other binomial. So you take the 3x and you multiply it times the 2x first, then times the 3. Well, that's just distribution for the 3x. And then once you get done with that, you multiply the second term, the positive 6. You multiply that times both of the terms in the other binomial. So 6 times 2x and then 6 times the negative 3. And that will be the more effective way of doing it, because that's the way you're going to do it when you multiply a binomial times a trinomial. And you guessed it, a trinomial is simply 3. Instead of having just 2 terms or 2 names, you have 3. And they have to be separated by either a plus or a minus. Okay? Example, it could be x. That's a monomial. It could be 3x here. I'll put x squared at the first. And it could be 12, right? As long as you have plus or minus in between these things, that's a trinomial. 3 terms, okay? See you in the next video.